तो 11 कैसे मिला इस कोऑर्डिनेट में? कोऑर्डिनेट में 11 नहीं, शायद 12 है। शायद वही 11 12 कैसे मिला? अरे मेरा देखो ना,
मैं रूप में मैं बता दे if a line from if a straight line follows two straight lines, which means the interior angle is together less than the sum of two right angles.
इंटीरियर एंगल्स बोलने को टुगेदर बोलने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी।
अच्छा, the two straight lines they produce
indefinitely.
If produced indefinitely, we know it on a same side where the sum is less than the two right.
मैं अभी कॉलेज में खत्म कर गया है, अभी रात को अगर कैंसिल करेंगे तो कैंसिल केस
if a number is if things which are equal to the same thing,
अबे एक्चुअली क्यों कर रहा है?
बरोबर तो things which are equal to the same thing are equal to one another.
Yes.
If thing
if equal to
if equal to
always second one is if equals are added to equals then the whole is equal. If equals are subtracted from equals then the remainder is equal. If the whole that when the thing coincides with another thing, then they are equal to one another. If wholes are greater than the equal है part. Whole is greater than the part. When the things which are double of the three things are equal to one another, things which are half of the same things are equal to one another. देखो ये सेम भी आप करते हैं टाइम पे लाया
double of same thing are equal to one another.
देखो तो पोस्टुलेट भी आप करते हैं टाइम पे लो क्लास समझ में आ गई।
मैं पता क्या कर रहा हूँ स्कूल में क्या कर रहा हूँ
फोर्थ पोस्टुलेट बता क्या फोर्थ पोस्टुलेट
और जरा मैं मुझे
अरे तू शांत रह सेकंड बोल क्या सेकंड पोस्टुलेट अविश्य
but definitely line can be drawn
बोल ले डिफरेंट बट डेफिनेटली line can be drawn फर्स्ट वाला तो बोल दे क्या फर्स्ट वाला आई करने दे नहीं फर्स्ट वाला बोल मैं भी बोल दिया फर्स्ट वाला हां लाइन में can be drawn from any one point to any other point आगे में बोल रहा है बोलेगा बोल रहा है वाला
बॉक्स में
अबे यार पीटी पीरियड बहुत गंदा हो गया
अबे हम लोग तो बोल के वो हमारे से नहीं उनके
कुछ मजा पूछिए ना कुछ नहीं कैसे करती फुटबॉल में फाड़ दे रहे बोले ये क्या है भाई रोनाल्डो का टिकट और के उसकी तो और ये आवेरा के गोल मार देगा ये किक मार के करिए बॉल उधर गया हां उधर देखिए बॉल गया बॉल उधर गया बास्केटबॉल खेलने में बास्केटबॉल भी सही है
अबे सही है हम लोग बास्केटबॉल सब बास्केट खेलने का काम दो
कितना अच्छा
मेरे को तुमके से ज्यादा था एक दो बार लेकिन उसका कोई भी नहीं
मेरा क्या मैं जाने और ट्रैवल मेरा ना आपने को ना टीम वर्क सबसे मेरा डी के बाहर से आ रहा है ए डी क्या होता है वो लाइन के बाहर से आता रहता है
पिच में
रिबाउंड वाज अ प्रोसेस ट्रैवल डबल रोल I think basketball का इंटर पे कर रहा है तो आज होना चाहिए बास्केटबॉल में पता नहीं आज वो नहीं है शायद से स्कूल में मैं जानी बाजू से मैं उसको देख रहा हूँ मेरे को इग्नोर कर रही मैं भी इग्नोर किया मैं बाजू से जा रहा हूँ मेरे को देख के मुझे हवा हाय हाँ दिस क्या हाय शुरू हो गया मेरे दोस्त के लिए रुका उधर क्या हुआ
वो मुंह अच्छा बनाती है
चुप कर क्या हुआ अगर इसको एक्टिंग में डालना है सच्ची में शायद
वही ना वो पता एक्सेल में कैसे लगेगा if things which are equal to the same things are equal to one और सर्कल में drawn from any center to any radius. Correct. When the things are double, double of the same thing then the
equal to one another.
और उसको बोलते हैं कुछ नहीं करते।
नहीं खाते हैं लोग। भाई ये कैसे करता है क्या होता
मराठी भी दिया ना
संडे को होता है और संडे को रहता है हमारा टेस्ट के वाले शाम को आता है ना
ऐसे नहीं
मेरा सा होता है कि कोई जो भी ऐसा कोई काला हो जाता है पहले 5 मिनट में ना दसा था बोलता है कॉफी हाँ मराठी में टीचर्स को बोलता है कॉफी बोलता है 4 बोलता है चाय भी को बोल बेटा डाल के टीचर बोलता है हाँ ला रहा हूँ पहले आप सिखाते तो अभी तो स्टार्ट भी नहीं हुआ बोलता है अरे छोड़ो उसको पहले मेरे को चाय दी फिर बात करता है बोलता है मैं आया 10 मिनट गलती नहीं है ये उनका फॉर्चूनेट टर्न किया उसको सेकंड फॉर्चूनेट होता है
उसको पुश लेसन कौन सा चल रहा है
पागल के लाइफ में स्टार्ट हो गया
हां
यस
ये भाई सब लोग बोल रहे हैं उसको ऊपर चढ़ो होगे इससे को
अबे हेल्थ फॉर्मूला हमारे सिलेबस में नहीं है होमवर्क से
एक कॉमन फॉर्मूला किसी भी टाइम को लोगे तो उसके एरिया मिल जाएगा ऐसा हां फर्स्ट स्टैंडर्ड में बता देते हैं ना वो
ट्रायंगल का फॉर्मूला नहीं है
कोई सा भी ना भी साइड ना भी लेंथ हो हम लोग फाइंड कर सकते हैं उसके
अब ऐसा तो सही है
और सर ट्रायंगल में होता है एक कौन से भी उसका हो सकता है बहुत अच्छा है
चार वाला नॉन ने का अरे इसको अंडरस्टैंड करना है मेरे को मैथ्स में कितना मिला
एक लोग सबको बोला पेपर देते हैं
नहीं चुप रहे पेपर नहीं मिला नहीं ऑनलाइन में ऑनलाइन क्या अरे नहीं आती हां चल देख गौरी भी नहीं आती कभी गौरी नहीं आ रहा कुछ देर का
अरे ये से आई क्यों
नहीं अबे अभी भी सही सीधे नहीं खेल रही हो देखो तेरे छुट्टी के सामने बैठा है सामने कीमती चीजें ब्रांड न्यू की बात है ब्रांड न्यू मत बोल क्या
अरे उसमें तो
भाई वहां पे लास्ट तो पढ़नी पता कि
फाइनल है
नॉट रेकमेंडेड फॉर चिल्ड्रन प्रेग्नेंट और लैक्टेटिंग अरे चिल्ड्रन यार प्रेग्नेंट और लैक्टेटिंग
अरे चिल्ड्रन नहीं
15 हो गया आई नहीं आनी चाहिए नेक्स्ट पेज देंगे मैथ्स का
एग्जाम चलेगा लेकिन
मेरा करते
अभी किसका है रखना अंदर रखना अंदर
प्रैक्टिकल कंटिन्यू वो करेगा तो अबे ये वो टिश्यू नहीं पढ़ाते आप ये देखो ये टिश्यू इसके बारे में क्या ही पढ़ोगे इससे बहुत कुछ चीजें साफ होती है बस
अरे भाई मैंने बोलता है इसको कुछ नहीं पढ़ा मुझे
भाई मेरा तो हो गया मैं कर रहा था कि बगल से मेरा तो हो जाएगा अरे हम लोग का क्लास टेस्ट कर रहे हैं
फिर उसके बाद रिक्वेस्ट दे दिया अबे इकडे हम लोग
क्लास टेस्ट यूनिट तेरा होता है
भाई देखना
यूनिट टेस्ट तो पढ़ना यूनिट टेस्ट बोल रहा है देखा बता रही है
Did we start with tissues already? Yeah. cell we have already finished. The other day we have done some questions. Today we are going to start with tissues. See what it looks. So we'll start with tissues. What are tissues? We have already come across this word tissues. What are they? What do you know about tissues? What are tissues?
Solids.
Tissues are a group of cells. Tissues are always a group of cells that which perform a particular function. So in case of plants as well as in animals, tissues are always a group of cells. So how will we define the word tissues? Tissues are a group of cells similar or dissimilar. Similar or dissimilar in structure and performing a common function. So now that we talk about tissues, what are tissues? Or to understand, tissues are a group of cells which are similar or dissimilar in structure, which may be, remember the group of cells may not be the same in their structure, but they are all engaged in the formation of or performance of a specific function. They all are performing the same function. What are you going to study under tissues? So if I talk about tissues, what are the two main types of tissues? First, we are going to talk about plant and animal tissues. We will study plant and animal tissues. Plant tissues and animal tissues. Under plant tissues, we are going to study meristematic and permanent tissues. Under meristematic, we are going to study tissues, we are going to study apical meristem. These are the types that we are going to take one after the other. Apical meristems, lateral meristems, intercalary meristems. Apical meristems, intercalary meristems, lateral meristems. Permanent tissues, what are we going to study? Under permanent tissues, we are going to study simple permanent, complex permanent. Simple permanent, again, we are going to study three types. One would be the parenchyma. Second would be the parenchyma. And third would be the clarenchyma. So parenchyma, parenchyma, and sclerenchyma. Complex tissues. two main types, xylem and phloem. Complex tissues, two main types, xylem and phloem. Under animal tissues, what are we going to study? Four types of animal tissues we will study. One is the epithelial tissues, connective tissues, muscular tissues, nervous tissues. So we are going to study one after the other. These are the types of tissues that we are going to study one after the other. We are going to start with meristematic tissues. We'll start with meristematic tissues. Let us start with plant tissues. I'm talking about plant tissues first. And under the concept of plant tissues, we will talk about the apical or the meristematic tissues, first of all. We are going to talk about the meristematic tissues. The meristematic tissues. Now, first of all, let us try understanding that which group of tissues are we talking about? What are we trying to understand? Meristematic tissues, as we say, which type of tissues, what are their cell types? Because we are saying that meristematic tissues means, or tissues means a group of cells. We are saying that tissues are a group of cells. So now if that is so, when we are talking about the cells of the meristematic tissues, what are the basic characteristics? The cells are small. The cells are small. Cells show rapid cell division. Cell wall are thin basically and made up of cellulose. We talk about the first type of tissues, apical meristems. Now, if I have to understand where are, now that already I had talked about that, what would be some of the features of the meristematic cells? The cells are always small because they are constantly dividing. And if I understand that these are the cells which are constantly dividing, then in which part of the plant are they generally found? They will always be found in the regions where growth takes place, maximally where growth takes place. So which are some of the regions of a plant where maximally growth takes place? The growth would generally take place at the tip of the root, the tip of the shoot, the tip of the root. These are the two major parts where the cell division happens very fast and the growth is rapid. Cell division fast and growth is rapid. So if that is the concept, then we are going to come across, we can also write that where are these type of tissues present. Remember, if I have to talk about the location of these type of tissues, where are meristematic tissues present? Meristematic tissues are always present at the growing regions of the plant. The regions of the plant where rapid growth takes place. That is the location of the meristematic tissues. Let us start with the apical meristems. Let us start with apical meristems. First of all, I will talk about the location. Let us look into one diagram here to understand that if it is a plant tissue, then what are the locations of these tissues? I'm just trying to look into one particular shoot. What am I drawing? A plant. I'm drawing a part of the plant above the soil. Now, this part of the plant will generally give rise to branches. No? Whenever we talk about any particular stem, we understand that yes, this stem will give rise to branches. This stem will give rise to branches. This stem will give rise to branches. So, this stem which will give rise to branches, the stem which will give rise to branches, this is what is known as the meristematic tissues. But as I look into these type of tissues, we are also to understand that what would be the location of the apical meristems here. Apical meristems would be present here. What is the location? I write here A. What is the location of apical meristems? At the tip of the root, at the tip of the shoot. So if I have to draw the root below the soil, how should I draw and how will I mark the apical meristems? I will mark the apical meristems here. The apical meristems are not present here. So at the tip of the root, at the tip of the shoot, this type of tissues are majorly present. The division of this group of cells are very, very fast, rapid division, allowing the process of growth. So location. What is the location you are supposed to write? The root tip. The root tip and the shoot tip. The root and the shoot tip. The root and shoot tip. That is what we are talking about, the apical meristems. Location. Then, what type of a function they would generally bring about? Now, the type of the cell, the nature of the cell remains exactly the same that I told you. That is common for all. What is the type of the cell of the apical meristems? The same. Cell wall would be thin, made up of cellulose, cells are small, rapidly dividing. And the cells are compact. Okay, add one more point. The cells are compact. That is, there are no intercellular spaces in between. The cells are all compact. Meaning, if I have to draw a section of the cells here, how would the cells be? The cells will be something like this. The cells will be something like this. If you look into some group of cells, the cells would be something like this. The cells would be something like this. All compact. The cells would be something like this. All compact. No spaces in between at all, whatever be the shape of the cells. The cells will be all compact, no spaces in between. Function helps in primary growth of the plant. Helps in primary growth of the plant. Helps in primary growth of the plant. So when I talk about helps in primary growth, what is the meaning of primary growth? Primary growth always means making the plant taller, making the roots longer. So increasing the length of the shoot, height of the shoot, increasing the length of the root below the soil. That is what is known as a primary, increase in primary length or primary growth. What is meant by primary growth? Are we talking about branching of the leaf and the flower and the twigs coming up? No, that is not primary. What is primary growth? I talk about the sapling just becoming taller. That is primary growth. The roots becoming long and spreading out. That is primary. Then the process of branching, leaf coming out, fruit coming out, flower coming out, that is secondary. That is known as secondary. So what about apical meristems? So this is what you have to understand, apical meristems. Next, I talk about the other type of meristematic tissues. What would be the other type of meristematic tissues? The other type of meristematic tissues next would be the lateral meristems. Lateral meristems. Lateral, by the concept of the lateral meristems, where are the lateral meristems present? Lateral meristems will be present here. 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 So where are they present? Inner region of the bar, in the stem. So location of the lateral meristems, what will we understand? Location of the lateral meristems would be, they are present in the inner region of stem. Inner region of the stem, next to the bark. They are present in the inner region of the stem, next to the bark. So these group of cells, meristematic cells, these group of cells, the meristematic cells, these group of cells that we talk about, the meristematic cells, these meristematic cells would always, these meristematic cells would always help in making the stem broader. Now that I talk about planting, now that I talk about putting a sapling, now that I talk about putting a sapling in the soil, the sapling is having the stem which is green and very narrow and very soft and very thin. I talk about a sapling of mango trees, say suppose. I talk about a sapling of the hibiscus plant. So the sapling will it have stem broad and thick? No. When I talk about a young plant, the sapling I am talking about, it will have the stem very narrow, very soft, very green. Now I put it in the soil, and within 6 months I get to see that the stem has now started becoming woody, brownish in color. Now it has started becoming woody. Now it has started becoming woody. Now it has started becoming broad and thick and firm. But yes, growth is happening. Growth is there. So now that I talk about the growth, yes, the stem was narrow and now progressively it became big enough, broad enough, and firm enough, and strong enough. What type of tissues are involved here? The lateral meristems. So what is the location? I already told you. What is the function? What is the function? Function increases the diameter of the stem, branches, root, increases the girth of the stem. Increases the girth. Increases the girth of the stem. What is the meaning of the girth? Diameter. What is the meaning of the girth? The diameter. Increases the girth of the stem. The third type of tissues we talk about would be the intercalary. The intercalary meristems. Intercalary meristems. Now what is the location function of intercalary meristems? Location, if you have to understand, at the nodes. At the nodes of a stem. At the nodes of a stem. Intercalary is always present at the nodes of a stem. What is the meaning of nodes? What is the meaning of nodes? At the growing region. Then where are the intercalary present? Intercalary is present here. Intercalary is present here. Intercalary is present here. Intercalary is present here. So now that I talk about, is there a difference in the location of the intercalary which I marked in blue and lateral which I have marked in red long strips? Is there a difference? When I talk about intercalary, then intercalary will be responsible for the growth of a stem, branch, the formation of a flower and a leaf. So yes, I understand that if this is a particular plant, that I understand, and the leaf coming out, and the branches coming out, and then the twigs developing, and then the flower coming out, that is all because of the, what type of tissues here? Intercalary. And now this stem becoming broader, what type of tissues? Lateral, also known as the canopy of this type of tissues. Location at the nodes of a stem. Function helps in the secondary growth of a plant. helps in the secondary growth. Helps in the secondary growth of a plant. That is what? That is the growth of branches, so growth of the stalk of leaf, the pedicel of the flowers, the branches, these are all secondary. So we have been talking about the meristematic tissues. Meristematic tissues are one type of plant tissues which are comparatively simple tissues. They are. Meristematic tissues are simple tissues. And these type of tissues, the meristematic forms, these type of tissues are basically helping in the growth of a plant always. The cells are fast dividing. Now we talk about the permanent types, where we are going to come across a lot of differences, where we are talking about a lot of differences, as just now we have been talking about the meristematic types. To compare the meristematic tissues with that of the permanent tissues, we are going to come across these type of tissues are not actually involved in the growth of the plant. They basically don't bring about the growth of the plant, but some other functions. So we are talking about permanent tissues. We are talking about permanent tissues. Permanent tissues. So permanent tissues, as we understand, what are permanent tissues? What are their types? Permanent tissues, what are their types? First of all, let us learn some major features of the permanent tissues. Cells are dead or living, meaning some may be living, majority of them are dead. Cells are dead or living. Cells are dead or living. Cells are dead or living and have lost the power of cell division. They have lost the power of cell division. Cells are living or dead and they have lost the power of cell division. They are formed from meristematic cells. They are formed from meristematic cells. They are formed from meristematic cells. They are formed from the meristematic cells, always remember, and they form the bulk of the plant. So let us now try to understand some features of the permanent tissues. I said some basic cellular features to understand. So for the plant tissues, one more point, cells have large intercellular spaces. Cells have large intercellular spaces. Okay, so there's many points you have to remember. So now that we are talking about the basic characteristics of the permanent tissues, try understanding. I am talking about the entire plant. What is the leaf of the plant made up of? Permanent tissues. What is the fruit made up of? Flower made up of? Seed made up of? Permanent tissues. What is the entire broad root made up of? Permanent tissues. What is the broad root and the stem made up of? All permanent tissues. So that's why we write that it is forming the bulk of the plant. Majority of the plant tissue is the permanent tissue. But at the same time, we understand that these are the cells which are not capable of division. If they are not capable of division, then how is it possible that so many cells are present or so much of the tissue is present in the plant? We are saying that they don't divide. Of course, they don't divide, but the meristematic cells are progressively undergoing the process of division, and every time some meristematic tissues get transformed and converted into pollen. The meristematic tissues are known to undergo the process of cell division very fast. So since they undergo the process of cell division very fast, a group of cells, they undergo the process of cell division, and another group of cells, they will stop the process of cell division and get converted into permanent. For example, I understand this is a meristematic cell. This is the meristematic cell, so what should be the property? They should be able to undergo the process of division. They should be able to undergo the process of division. Now, after a particular number of cells are formed, what will happen? This cell may not undergo the process of division again, but these are getting now converted to form some permanent tissues. They are now getting converted to form some permanent tissues. That is how the permanent tissues comes into existence in the plant. They are always formed from the meristematic. Permanent tissues are always formed from the meristematic. Permanent tissues are always formed from the meristematic. Understood? And what are the other features we are talking about? That these permanent tissues that we are talking about, they may have large number of intercellular spaces. What type of function they may generally bring about in a plant? Variety of functions like the support and the protection and the secretion, etc. Let us see what are those. So under permanent tissues, we are talking about two types. What are the two types under permanent tissues we had discussed already? I gave you the flowchart. Simple and complex. So first of all, we are going to talk about the simple permanent. First of all, we are going to talk about the simple permanent tissues. And what do we understand by the simple permanent tissues? When we are talking about the simple permanent, what does that mean? Simple permanent tissues, when I say the simple permanent tissues would have one particular feature. The simple permanent tissues would have one particular feature. What is it? They are made up of one type of cells. They are made up of only one type of cells. The simple permanent tissues are always and always made up of only one type of cells. What are those? Categories are what? We are talking about the first category, that is parenchyma. We talk about the first category, parenchyma. So in case of the parenchyma, we talk about the parenchyma here. So in case of the parenchyma, let us come across that these group of cells, take out your pencils and you'll have to draw these three diagrams that I'm drawing, and then we are going to also understand their basic features. this diagram now. We are talking about the parenchyma. In this diagram, we come across the section of the tissue there, parenchyma. What are some of the features you are supposed to understand? Again, I told you that we are going to study based on the location, where are they present, what type of function they generally show, and if at all any modification that they have, if at all any modification that they have. So let us talk about the parenchyma. So when I'm talking about the parenchyma, look into the section of the cell to understand the parenchyma here. Look into the section of the cell to understand. First of all, we would say, where is the parenchyma present? It is present in the leaf. It is present in the stem. Parenchyma is forming the fruit. Parenchyma is present in the seed, etc. The potato is parenchyma. The sugarcane or the pulp of the fruits, parenchyma. The inner part of the stem, parenchyma. The edible part of the fruit and the crop, parenchyma. So that's all parenchyma that we are understanding. The leaf that we understand, the fleshy part of the leaf, parenchyma. Function, what type of function? Sometimes they bring about support. Sometimes they bring about storage. Now, when I talk about one specialized feature, let us talk about certain features of these type of cells. What are some of the features from the diagram itself? We can understand that these are cells with prominent vacuole. It is there because it's actually plant cells. One feature that we are going to compare here is that the cell wall. What about the cell wall? The cell wall is thin. The cell wall is thin and made of cellulose. The cell wall is thin and made of cellulose. Cell wall is thin and made up of cellulose. That is a specific point that we should remember. Otherwise, the features of the cell are more or less the same. Can we see any spaces in between the cells here in the diagram? Are the cells compact or there are some spaces in between? The cells are compact. If it is parenchyma, the cells are compact. So features, functions, let us talk about some modifications. Sometimes the parenchyma develop a special type of a structure or a modification in which the parenchyma has cells where the vacuole is air-filled. The vacuole is not filled with the sac. The vacuole is not filled with the sac. So, whereas the vacuole is air-filled.
What is the modification for that?
The first modification I am talking about is parenchyma. Parenchyma. What is the function? Function of parenchyma provides buoyancy to the plant parts. Provides buoyancy to plant parts. What does that mean? When I talk about parenchyma, what would be the location? Aquatic plants. When I talk about parenchyma, type of parenchyma present in aquatic plants. Specialized form of parenchyma present in aquatic plants. Now, these specialized form of parenchyma that we are talking about, this specialized form of parenchyma is present in the aquatic plants I am mentioning. That means that these type of parenchyma is present in the leaves and the parts of the lotus, the lily, the hydrilla, the water hyacinth. So all these water plants or the aquatic plants, do we see them floating or sinking? Floating on the surface of the water. But the similar way, if I take some bundles of those mint and coriander and the money plants and etc., all the mango leaves and etc., and a bundle of them I put it in the water, quite a number of them. The water hyacinth spread out long distances, but then also they don't sink. They are floating. The lotus and the lily, big leaves, then also they are not sinking, they are floating. But similar amount of some mango leaves I put in the water. Should they sink or should they float? They will sink. A similar weight of lotus whatever the weight of a full lotus plant. There's a weight on this lotus plant actually, if you take up. But then the entire big leaf is there, the broad thalamus is there, and then the stem is there, and the bud is there. So this entire plant, I take a weight and a similar amount of weight, a similar the size of the plant. I consider the size of this lotus and similar amount of other plants I take. Almost a similar amount, maybe a little bit lesser, of mango leaves but not. Or leaves of the coriander, leaves of the mint, or some other land plants I take. The hibiscus land plants. And then I talk about that, okay, this much of the lotus or this much of the hibiscus I take, and I put it in the water. You'll observe that they have started sinking, if not full, partial, of course. Take the bigger plants like these broad type of leaves, banyan leaves, a bundle of them, put it in the water, they will start sinking. But why did this happen? Why the lotus, such big lotus, they remain on the surface of the water? Why not they sink? Because those aquatic plants, they have got the vacuoles, and the vacuole is not filled with the sap, so the cells are all lighter. The cells are all lighter in all these aquatic plants. Why they keep floating on the surface of the water? Because the parenchymal cells which are there in them, they are not filled with the sap as in other plants here on the land. The plants on the land are heavy because they have so much of water filled in there, sap filled in there. So that's the reason I talk about a big lotus leaf and I talk about 3 small mango leaves put in the water. Slowly they will start sinking. But that big lotus leaf is still floating. Why like that? Because the cells are lying. Say suppose if I talk about that, you talk about the rat. You talk about the rat and almost the same body size. You select a bird of the same size of the body. Same size of the body. Is the rat able to fly? But that small bird, almost of the size of a rat, is able to fly. How? Why? Because the bones are light and the body is light. Whereas the body of the rat is much heavier because it is all filled with, the bones are all filled with matrix and heavy substances. So the bones are not light bones. Same that way. When I talk about the plants, plants are also having, basically plants are all filled with sap, but in case of parenchyma, there is no sap but there is air, making the plant cells lighter, and hence the plant cells or the plant tissues can float. Hence the plant tissues can float. What is this property known as? This property is known as the buoyancy to the plant parts. This is called the buoyancy to the plant parts. So parenchyma, another modification we are going to talk about. The other modification would be, we talk about the second modification. What would be the second modification? The second modification is chlorenchyma. What is the second modification? Chlorenchyma. What is so special about the chlorenchyma? Chlorenchyma cells are, or cells possess large number of chloroplasts. Cells possess large number of chloroplasts. Where are these types of parenchyma cells present? These type of cells are present in the leaves. Where are these type of parenchyma present? I talk about the parenchyma of the leaf or something like this, chlorenchyma. But are the leaves, are the stem, are the parenchyma of the stem the same type? No, they don't have chloroplasts. Are they green? Is the stem ever green? No, the stem is not green because they don't have chloroplasts. So chlorenchyma are the type of parenchyma cells which have large number of chloroplasts, and that particular parenchymal tissue is always green in color. But I have also mentioned that the parenchyma is present in the leaf also, stem also. It forms the potato also, the beetroot also. But no, When I talk about the parenchyma of the leaf, they are special because they have got large amounts of chloroplast. So what would be these the function of such type of cells? The function of such type of parenchyma would be the process of photosynthesis. What type of function would they generally undergo? Such type of parenchyma, they would basically undergo the process of photosynthesis. They would basically undergo photosynthesis. Come to the next. After parenchyma, we now talk about collenchyma. After parenchyma, we now talk about collenchyma. After parenchyma, we now talk about collenchyma. What is collenchyma? Where are they present? What about their cell types? Let us have a look. So rest everything would remain the same except for when I draw the cells would be something like this. The cells will just have some boundaries like this. The cells will just have some boundaries like this. The boundaries would be something different. Now, are you able to see some spaces between the cells? There are. So if it is collenchyma, this is one difference. And what is the other difference? The cell corners, the cell wall are thick at the corners. The cell wall would be thick at the corners like this. At the corners, the cell wall is thick. At the corners, the cell wall is thick. Understood? So what did we write for the parenchyma? We had written for the parenchyma, the cell wall is thin. At the parenchyma, cell wall is thin. At the parenchyma, we mentioned that the cell wall is thin and made up of cellulose. Yes, of course, for collenchyma also we are seeing something similar. Let us now see some features. Collenchyma, where are they present? Collenchyma, where are they present? Collenchyma, if I have to talk about, they are present at the junction of the stem and the branches. At the junction of the stem and branches, or stalk of leaves, at the stalk of leaves, at the flower stalks, etc. They're all like this. So something like, I am talking about a plant. Then where is collenchyma present? I understand that these are some branches, and from this branch a flower develops. So now that I'm talking about this collenchyma, where is this collenchyma present? I understand that these flowers I am not able to reach. So what am I doing? I am pulling this branch. Where is the collenchyma present? The collenchyma is present here. The collenchyma is present here. Whenever there's a storm, strong wind blowing, the leaf and the flower and the twigs and the petals and everything is shaking, moving in a plant. But every time, does these leaves and the flowers and the fruits fall off from a plant? Do they every time fall off? No, they don't. Yes, when it is a cyclone and the force is too big, then only they fall. Did you ever hang on the branches of a tree when you were small? Yes. Did you do that? Hanging. I think sometime or the other you all must have done, at least boys must have done. Did you do that? Hanging on the branches of a tree? Such fun it is. So hanging on the branches of a tree. So when we are talking about the hanging of the branches of a tree, now quite often we come across, yes, small children, they could play in the park also, even before they come across a tree where the branches are low, they always try holding and catching and swinging there, hanging there. But every time the branch would not break, the branch would basically not break. Unless and until the branch is very feeble and thin, narrow. And if I talk about some elderly children now hanging, that's a different thing. But normally we come across small children hanging and the branches, no, they would not break. Say suppose I talk about that there's a plant, I want to pluck some flowers from up there, and the branches are quite high up. So what do? I try to catch hold of the branch, I try to pull it, and then pluck the flowers. Are the branches breaking immediately? No, they would not. So that means plants also have got a degree of flexibility, is not so? The plant, branches and the twigs and the stalk, they also have got a degree of flexibility. So this degree of flexibility is provided by the pollen type. How? Because these tissues, when you check the section, it is found that they have got additional deposits of cellulose. What are these red dots or the red thick regions I have drawn? These are the extra deposits of cellulose. These are the extra deposits of cellulose here. These are the extra deposits of cellulose here. This extra deposit of cellulose is making the plant tissue flexible. So now that I talk about yes, their location is something like this. Then what about the function of these type of tissues? What would be the function? The function is provides elasticity or flexibility to the plant parts. Provides flexibility to plant parts. Provides elasticity to the plant parts. Provides elasticity or flexibility to the plant parts. Okay. The last one, the third one that we are going to talk about would be the sclerenchyma. Would be sclerenchyma. Now the cellular structure of sclerenchyma are absolutely different. The cellular structures of the sclerenchyma would be absolutely different. Where the cells are more or less like this. The cells are more or less thick wall. The cells are tough. The cell wall is thick wall here. The cell wall is thick like this. The cell wall is thick like this. The cell wall is thick like this. So this cell wall, I talk about where are these type of cell walls present. Location, what are we supposed to write? Sclerenchyma, they are present on the veins of leaf. They are present on the veins, all the dead parts of a plant. Veins of the leaf, bark of the stem. Then we talk about the seed coat. We talk about the husk of coconut. So all these dead, dry parts of the plant that you can think of, these are all sclerenchyma. Look into the cells, how they should look like. This is the cell wall. This is the cell wall. The amount of cytoplasm is very narrow. They have got a very, very narrow line of cytoplasm. They have got a very, very narrow line of cytoplasm. So this is basically the lumen that we talk about. The amount of cytoplasm is very, very narrow. Very, very narrow. So this is what I'm talking about, that the cytoplasmic part is very, very narrow as in comparison with the parenchyma and the sclerenchyma that we have talked about. And this cell wall is made up of a specialized substance. What is the substance known as? This is known as the lignin. Lignin, Lignin. What is the cell wall substance known as? Lignin. At the same time, the cell wall is perforated like this. The cell wall has got perforations like this. What are these perforations called? These are known as the pits. These are known as the pits. Now, cytoplasmic region is very, very thin, almost like a sheet, and the cells have got white space inside. Cell sac actually is not there, they are almost dried out, so this inner space is known as the lumen. The inner space is called the lumen. The inner space is called the lumen. Okay, the inner space is called the lumen. Where are they present? I already told you what would be their function. What type of a function? Since they are dead, they provide protection. They are dead and hence they provide protection. They are the dead layer. They are the dead layer and hence they provide protection. They are the dead layer of cells. The coat of the seeds. Yes. What is that? Pits. P-I-T-S. Lumen. L-U-M-E-N. 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 So here we are talking about the three types of permanent tissues. But what type of permanent tissues are all of these? They're all simple permanent we are talking about. So in the case of simple permanent tissues, what did you understand? I talk about the parenchyma, I talk about the collenchyma. The tissue is all made up of one type of cell. Yes or no? We have been drawing the section of the parenchyma. All of the cells are same type. Collenchyma, all the cells are of the same type. Now that I talk about the sclerenchyma, I have drawn only one cell. Yes, the entire seed coat, bark, the husk of the coconut, all will be having the same type of cells. Can you write one distinct difference between sclerenchyma and collenchyma? What are some differences you will write between sclerenchyma and collenchyma? Write down one question. Write down one question first. Write two differences between sclerenchyma and collenchyma. Two differences between sclerenchyma and collenchyma. Two differences between sclerenchyma and collenchyma. Write down the first point. Under sclerenchyma, they are made up of dead cells. They are made up of dead cells. And the cell wall is made up of lignin. The cell wall is made up of lignin. They are made of lignin. Check the spelling. L-I-G-N-I-N. Lignin. They are made up of lignin. Number two, other side you write sclerenchyma, collenchyma. They are made up of dead or living cells. They are made up of dead or living cells. And cells are made up of cell wall is made up of, not cells. Cell wall is made up of cellulose. Cell wall is made up of cellulose with extra deposit at the center, at the corners. With extra deposit at the corners. With extra deposit at the corners. Point number two. Sclerenchyma. Under sclerenchyma, they are a tough, resistant layer. And provide protection. Tough, resistant layer, provide a protection. Collenchyma, they provide flexibility to the plant parts. Location I had already given in the notes and the lecture points. You must have written down location. Will you be able to write on your own? What are one or two locations of the sclerenchyma? The husk of the coconut, the vein of the leaf. Two locations of the collenchyma.
Junction.
stem and branches, stem and branches, stalk of the leaves. Okay. Now, there's a table in the volume, parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. Tick the table, you have to read this very nicely. Okay, we have discussed with the diagram. You have to read this part very nicely, and also your NCERT text. So you have to read this.